Hey, shalom, 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 YouTube. This is Elder Doug. Forgive the way I'm dressed. I just got back in from doing a little turkey hunting this morning, and if you'll see the other video I posted, we were successful this morning, so praise the Most High. Yeah, I just had a few thoughts, especially concerning this so-called debate with this Church of Christ pastor. You know what's amazing, and I've dealt with this before, with somebody else that was a Christian, is that I asked him a question. I said, what is sin? You know, it's a simple question. We all talked about it. Religions all know about it. They can all acknowledge that sin is a nature, a fallen nature. Sin is of the devil. But when you ask them, what is sin? So if I was to ask this Church of Christ minister, what is sin? What kind of answer are you thinking? Now, mind you, the first man that I asked this wouldn't provide me for an answer. He wouldn't give me an answer. But, of course, these religions, Christianity mainly, all the time quote the New Testament. Paul's writings, John's, the apostles' letters that they wrote. And John, the apostle John, made it clear. He said sin is the transgression of the law, or the Torah of the Most High. So if the Torah doesn't exist, then this absolves religion from being sinful in the sight of the Most High? Come on. Now look at, Paul covered this. He said plainly, we're all going to stand before the judgment of seat of the Most High, judgment seat of Christ. What's the reason for it to be judged? Judged of what? For transgressing the law, for violating the law, for an illegality against the law, against the Torah. So the most convenient way is to remove it. You know, again, Paul, the Apostle Paul, in Romans, the 2nd chapter, he covered it pretty well. He didn't leave any wiggle room for anybody, whether the Hebrew Israelites or the Gentiles, who religion is, who Christianity is. They can call themselves the children of the Most High, but for the fact of the matter is, they are just basically Gentiles, pagans, heathens in heart. And of course, they're trying to use a Hebrew Israelite book to substantiate their religion, which is impossible. It's only written to one person, people. That's Yah's, his firstborn son, Israel. But this is what he said. Paul said there's no respect of persons with Yah. There isn't. The judgment is the same for all men, whether they believe or don't believe, confess that they believe in Jesus Christ, or be an atheist. The fact of the matter is, there is no respect of persons. The judgment's the same for all. And Paul said, for as many have sinned without the law, shall also perish without the law. So if you have these Church of Christ or Christians or the Catholics or whatever, and they say the law doesn't exist, and they go on continuing in sin without the law that they say is done away with, they're still going to perish. You're not going to get around the judgment of the Most High. For as many have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. So those of us that contend that we obey the Torah of the Most High and keep His law, statutes, commandments, we're going to get merited under the same judgment by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before Yah, but the doers of the laws, who's going to be justified? The doers of the Torah, the ones that keep His Torah. Now y'all Christians, you Church of Christ, you Catholics, you Apostolics, the ones that don't keep the law, you've already got your judgment come, but at least us that keep the Torah, Hebrew Israelite people, or at least we're justified. For when you Gentiles, you religious folks, which have no law, again, Paul's agreeing that you don't have a law, you contend that we're not under the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these, or you Gentiles, having not the law, are a law unto yourselves. So we're going to make up anything that we believe is doctrinally correct, and we're going to stand by it, by golly, in spite of what the book says. Now remember, this is all New Testament writings. Alright? But here again, Paul emphasizes they show the work of the law written in their hearts, whether they believe it or not. Okay? Their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts, the meanwhile, accusing or else excusing one another. Christianity is brilliant at that. We're not under the law. We're allowed to do this. We're allowed to break the Sabbath because it doesn't apply to them. Okay? But they're trying to implicate that they're Yah's people while in the same, and represent the kingdom of the Most High, and all the time misrepresenting completely and totally who the true people of Yah's chosen people are. But And Paul goes on to conclude in the 16th verse that in that day when Yah shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, the same one that Church of Christ, the Catholics, the Lutherans all proclaim that is their master, their Lord, their Savior. This same one, yet Jesus kept the law, he kept the Torah, Paul kept the Torah, all the apostles kept the Torah, even after the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, but the rest of y'all get a pass. Well, we'll find out. For remember, because we're all going to stand before the judgment seat of the Most High, before the judgment seat of Christ. And in that day when God judges the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to the things that Paul just wrote. So this was just a short little video to say that some of this stuff and some of these arguments are, as Pastor words, nonsensical. I mean, I hope that some way, somehow, that maybe this little short video can help those that are struggling with this false Christian religious doctrine to come out of it. And maybe Yah will open your understanding. Until then, y'all be at peace. This is Elder Doug. Shalom. The King is coming.